There's a core that's rich, that's amazing, that is connected to nature. It's innate, and we all have it. And so, our goal here at ILLI is to strip away any of that falsehood, that false understanding, those tattoos that we have labeled ourselves. And our goal at ILLI is to allow the person to really deepen their own inner integration of what it means to truly be an empowered leader. Our institute does not model the higher education model where you spend years studying courses, learning how to dissect a frog, learning how to do all these things that you're never going to use. It's wonderful to read books. It's great to quote people. But our energy is focused on deepening the inner you. So when you stand in front of the room or a church or a chamber of commerce, or with whatever you are doing, with however you are doing it, that you resonate an energy of groundedness, of being rooted to this earth, and you speak with confidence and presence and power. Our program intentionally was designed that we create leaders. And though we do not sidetrack or lessen our process, we truly focus on building you, on building the stronger innate you. And so our programs are anything from 12 months to 18 months as far as completion. And we're really calling you because, again, we are at a place that we need more spiritual leadership. We need people having a voice. And there's many different ways that you can be a spiritual leader. You can be a phenomenal tribal leader and have a big family and be a spiritual leader. So it has a domino effect, a rippling effect. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
That's wonderful. Thank you, Temple. And we're excited about this vision that you had, and of growing the number of credentialed leaders in the world. That was the big calling of your vision, was to move, the knowing that moving beyond the brick and mortar, moving beyond those limitations and opening up the international movement was really key for you, and with this organization starting. So we're very grateful for that. And
Well, the truth of the matter, if I may, is you can read 400 books on being a good parent, or you can learn through parenting how to be better within yourself. And so that is our call. I get goosebumps when I think about it. The real learning in being a spiritual leader is in the practice of being a spiritual leader. That's where the learning is. And so we wanted to create a program that everybody, whether you're in Tanzania, whether you're in Peru, whether you're in St. Petersburg, Florida, but that it's measurable, it's self-paced, you get to interact with other people, but you are the one charting your own course. It's amazingly empowering. It's very shamanic also. So wherever you are and whatever you are facing, you are grounded and you are resonating at a high frequency, and your life works extremely well. And that's what it's all about.
And that's what it's all about.
Yes.
Excellent. Well, and I'm really excited to welcome Ryan Owens to speak now. He's a current student in ILLI, so I think we've got this great perspective. He's in the middle of the program and has a great story, understanding of why he answered the call of stepping up and into leadership and becoming a difference maker. So Ryan, we'd love to hear from you a little bit about your story.
Well, thank you so much, Amy. And thanks to all the leaders here with us today too. Yes, I have a story, and it is probably has similar paths as most of you who are watching today. And ILLI has been an absolute godsend in my life. My story briefly is to tell you that I started out as a Midwestern young man who was in a sect of religion outside of Christianity or inside Christianity that was very totalitarian, very dogmatic and doctrine. And my heart was closed. It was only for those who were in my group. And I grew up in that mentality that it was only me and my chosen people who were favored by God. And I was always seeking God. I was always seeking that which was causing me to seek. I was a young man who was giving my first talk in what was called a theocratic ministry school, always wanting to be always a lifelong learner, always someone, wanting to harness spirit and to be able to orate and talk about it and help the world. That was my mission. And I started off, like I said, in a sect of Christianity, which as I grew older into the bloom of youth and past, it didn't serve me any longer. I evolved past that. I got introduced to characters in life such as Jim Rohn, who were talking about self-development, who were speaking of spiritual values and principles and not calling it that. And then I met information like Abraham Hicks or Dr. Wayne Dyer that was catching me at a point where I was very lost. I had left my religion. I had left that which had binded me to a certain theology and a certain small boxed in way of looking at God and spirituality. And as I started getting introduced to new thoughts and new leaders out there, I wanted to be a leader, but I knew that I wasn't in the right place to lead. I didn't have the right information because I felt small. I felt God was small. I felt fear. And then eventually, after also joining traditional Christianity, which also didn't align with my spiritual mission, it didn't align with who I knew I was, until I came to learn about New Thought and come to First Unity Spiritual Campus, where it was basically salvation from this fear that I had always had about coming out and being who I was, not a great business person, but coming alive as a person. And First Unity and New Thought opened up that path that allowed me to get the tools that we all have as humans, the meditation, the prayer, to listen and hear from God, the true God, the one infinite power and presence in this universe that was always there. It was named different things. It was in different books. There was different groups of people who wanted to explain that ineffable thing that is all around us and works through us and as us. And getting into New Thought, to bring it all home, I felt at home. I felt that this mission that I'd always had since a young man of being a leader. And honestly, at this point, I don't know what being the spiritual leader is going to lead me to. I'm just taking the steps and I have the call. And for all of you who have that call, who have been seeking God, or seekers or healers, we need you. The world needed you. And I felt that I had to do my part with my voice and my story. And when I found out about ILLI, lifelong learners in leadership, in this New Thought territory, where I joined ILLI and learned about the heritage of New Thought. And I learned about, Temple Hayes and her books, When Did You Die? And I started contemplating bigger questions. And I started finding I'm having the tools now where I can actually go out into the world at my own pace, learn all of these tools that I can show up as a leader that the world needs now, and let go of some of the stories that worked for those men and women of their time. But it's our time now. It's your time. And if you really feel like I felt that I wanted to be a spiritual leader, but I didn't have the right theology or the right dogma or doctrine because I felt small. And now with ILLI and taking this training, I feel alive. I feel big. I feel God is big. I feel like this message, these tools that are explained in the leadership training here and ILLI in general, is absolutely befitting what the world needs from leaders now. And I feel like my heart is open. I know that we are not broken. And I know that as I take on this role of leadership, that I don't know exactly what it looks like, I'm in the right place with ILLI to really foster this opening of my heart and the continuance of that, and gaining all these tools that the world needs now. So I hope I brought that all together for you, tell you a little bit about my story and where ILLI met me now. And it was a place that you might be in right now. So check out the links that we have. Check out ILLI. Talk to one of the mentors. It has changed my life for the better. It has equipped me with tools to be a modern and future leader in spirituality and in the marketplace. Being a conscious leader in the marketplace, it isn't about just being a great minister like some of those who are with us today. But your mission, you don't have to see it all, but take the first step. And ILLI really is one of those steps that is going to absolutely take me into my future right now. So that's my story. Thank you so much for letting me tell it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes, thank you, Ryan. That's wonderful. It's wonderful to hear, as we were speaking about earlier, just what ILLI offers is that place for, even if you're not entirely sure, like, oh, I have this very specific notion of what I need to do, and I know I'm going to go to ILLI and do it, that it's more the foundational aspects of growing us more spiritually, more into ourselves, more whatever that next step of leadership is. And I think it's wonderful because whether you're a beginner, you don't have much of that, or if you are a seasoned minister, there are things that we are always learning and growing, and that's one of the great things about this program that I find. So it was great to hear your story. Thank you so much for sharing.
Absolutely. Can I say one quick addition?
Yes.
Just as a student, the mentorship, along with all of the great courses that are involved in ILLI, and you can get in, the 40-day of abundance with Reverend Christy Hardwick, which is amazing. You will love it. But it's the mentorship and the one-on-one from great spiritual leaders. And these courses are like, evolving your skill and consciousness, stopping yourself, and a variety of things that, once you get into ILLI, these things are here to turn you and have you come out of hiding and really go out into the world and show up as your best self, because we need you right now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for that reminder. Yes. And so I think right now we're just kind of we want to talk a little bit more specifically about, what does it mean to hear your call, and, what that might look like and your own life. And also another story was, with Reverend Christy Hardwick, who is our Dean of Thought Leadership, that we would like to hear from her, and her own part of her story as well, and stepping up and into leadership as a difference maker.
Thank you. And thank you, Ryan, for that beautiful, passionate discussion and storytelling. I can catch that energy. Anybody out there can catch that energy and the passion that you have for living, which is what we're about. So how to hear a call, like Ryan heard his call. Sometimes we wonder, it's like, do I have purpose? Is there a specific thing I need to be doing? How do you hear and know what's for you? Well, there are so many paths to do that. And we love the idea that there are so many paths because there's so many you out there. And whatever way is going to work for you, we're going to help you to find it in yourself, because everything that's needed is right where you are. So how to hear your own call? You listen for the cues of what raises your joy meter. Pay attention to what brings you joy, and notice what you do extremely well without efforting and pushing and thriving. It's something that you naturally are able to do. That's your calling. The thing that people say to you, thank you, thank you, thank you for this. Thank you, thank you, thank you for that. That's your calling. So we help you to excavate what's happening in your life and help you to see that it's already there. So you hear your own call by noticing, paying attention, seeing what brings you joy. And when you get an answer about what your calling is, and when you answer the calling, it blesses everyone on your path. How many people of you know that are in the wrong place, doing something that's really not for them? And their energy demonstrates they're not in the right place for themselves. And so they are slogging through mud instead of lifting themselves up in the air, right? And so being in that energy of a person who's not following their calling, who's not in the right place for themselves, is something that reduces the amount of energy that's in the room. Imagine being that person who's in alignment with your calling, and how you can bless everyone as you move on your path. So you deciding to answer your call, you moving on your path, blesses everyone. And the way that came for me is I was sitting in a corporation, a billion-dollar company. I was one of 27 executives, 11,000 employees. And I heard clearly that this is not for you. Standing there talking about technology and numbers and profits and shareholders and all that, I did it extremely well. So what you do well isn't always the thing. It's about what also raises that joy meter, opens your heart, makes you feel like you're in the right place at the right time. When you start to feel out of alignment with yourself, which I did, and I was, being paid wonderful sums of money, and it was a great job, all those kind of things. But I literally came in and handed in my badge to the CEO and said, I can't do this anymore. There's something else for me. And you know what? I didn't have the something else. I didn't know what the something else was. I just knew that wasn't it. And so I opened the door for spirit to be able to rush toward me with what that next thing was going to be. And for me, it turned out to be that I was teaching spiritual principle without knowing I was teaching spiritual principle. So sometimes it's helpful to have an organization like an Institute for Leadership Lifelong Learning that's international for you to be able to align with, to see what it is you need in order to realize what's calling you. So I took that leadership, that executive presence, all those things, and then learned spiritual principle. And from there, I was able to launch into a ministry that matched with what I was really on the earth to do. And if you are wondering about that for yourself, you can go to the next slide, Amy. If you're wondering about that for yourself, following your own soul's mission, wondering if you're ready, wondering if this is for you. What I knew about myself were these things. I knew that growth and expansion was a priority for me. I knew that I had to keep pushing my edge. That was so important. I knew I wanted to take my leadership to the next level, because you can always be more. You can always be bigger in terms of how you're showing up. Not more, it's not all about how much more money you make, how big your title is, but you can still be bigger in your presence, right? Take your leadership to the next level. And you felt the calling, and then you want some expert guidance in teaching, because we all need community in which to thrive and grow. Just like any kind of plant or seed needs soil and nurtured soil to grow. So we can be that for you. And you've been looking for, what is my curriculum? What is the curriculum for me in order to carry myself to that next level of my leadership? And you have lived experience, many of you. Some of you may be coming from, completing your education, knowing that this is your path, you want to go right to ministry. But many people have had second, third, fourth careers. And now you're saying, I know that this is my calling, and I have lived experience, and I want to integrate my lived experience with a spiritual calling. And ILLI is a place that can help you shape your own personalized curriculum and do just that. So I am so happy to be affiliated and associated, and to teach classes and be there for you on your journey. Thank you, Amy.
Yes, that's wonderful. Thank you. That's such a great encapsulation of, what people are looking for in this, and what is special about ILLI that is offered. And we're going to hear a little bit from our dean now, Dr. Aileen Curtin, and she's, there we go. And she's going to talk to us about, really why ILLI is the solution of what we've identified here. We've talked a little bit about how you mentioned that it's unique to you and unique to your own path. And Dr. Aileen just does a tremendous job working with each student individually to craft that and see where is the support needed, what is it. This type of work that we're doing here is at such a deep level, and a personal level too. So it's great to have someone like her walking the students through. So if Dr. Aileen, turn it over to you a little bit now to talk about what the program to you and how it works with the students.
Yes, thank you. And maybe you can go on ahead to the next slide.
Okay.
And we can start there. So I'm delighted to meet all of you, and I hope that I can talk with you and meet with you in Zoom. The first thing I want to tell you is this is not your typical university or school. I actually came out of a very strict educational system. Many of you probably have done that. You've come through high school. You've probably been told somewhere along the way that you weren't good at this subject or that subject. You probably had to go through courses and exams and tests, and to prove that you in fact were knowledgeable, and to prove that you had attained knowledge that would qualify you or credential you to do something else. Many of us have been through this paradigm. Many of us have actually been rejected from such a paradigm, whether it was high school or college. And the first thing I want to tell you, this is not this kind of educational experience. The first thing you will notice is we want to know who you are. There is no requirement to have any particular background or specification in terms of a high school diploma or a degree. We want to meet you where you are. Something is calling you, or as you go to our website that says, I want to learn more about this program. So I'm the lady you will usually interact with. So I firstly want to tell you, I'm originally from Ireland, and I am just delighted to meet you, all of you who are on this webinar today. So the first thing is, you come as you are. We have approximately a series of 20 to 22 courses. They're not your typical courses that you would expect maybe in your ministerial or spiritual leadership program. These are courses that are designed to remind you that you already know who you are. We are not teaching you to acquire a lot of knowledge and information that you're going to have to memorize, be tested on, or regurgitate later. So that's the first thing. You come as you are. All of us have the ability to lead. So you may be somebody who was told somewhere in the past that you did not have the ability to lead. You may feel like you lack speaking ability, skills, or lack presence. Wherever you are, just know that you have the ability to lead. Our program, if you're interested in the spiritual leadership program, a lot of times I get asked, is this a unity program based on the teachings of Charles Fillmore, or is this more of a science of mind? I'm here to tell you this is new thought. We encourage you to delve into readings into new thought, like Ryan mentioned. He mentioned teachings of Dr. Wayne Dyer, Reverend Temple Hayes. So anything that is positive spirituality, which we call new thought, it's not religious dogma. So many times people will say, well, I really don't know much about the Bible, or I really don't know much about metaphysics. I've got to learn all of this stuff. I want to tell you, it's not about the content, it's about the process. So our program, we have a series of courses that we bundle together, and within each of those bundles, you have opportunities to be mentored one-on-one with a spiritual leader. You can complete our program in as little as 18 months. I will tell you right now that compared to other programs out there, you could spend as much as 5 years, 7 years, and still never feel like you have learned enough. So our program is designed to get you going, get you started, moving into your path as a leader. So we're very committed to that. We wanted our program to get you out into the world now. Many prospective students who talk to me will say, well, I was in this program over here or this program there, but I work professionally and I'm unable to take the classes, the live classes, and I just can't finish. Our program was designed for you, in the sense that you can continue your work. All of our courses are pre-recorded. They are synchronous, meaning you take it your own time. You go through the coursework. There are not assignments or tests, but there's a lot of reflective questions. The courses in each of them are carefully chosen to fit what it is you need, whatever it is that you feel that you are limiting about yourself. So, but we are going to get you out in 12 months. So we have, at the end of 12 months, if you follow that path, do your 6 bundles, 2 months at a time. However, if you need longer, it is self-paced, meaning that, let's say you want to move take a little bit more time, maybe take 4 months in each bundle. You can do that too. But that's not for the webinar tonight. That's something that you can talk with me more at length and I can explain. But essentially, you go at your own pace. You actually schedule your calls with your spiritual leader and your mentor, and it is self-paced. Unlike the university model or many other models of spiritual education out there that require that you show up at certain times, that you be part of maybe video live calls. We recognize very quickly, as we were planning and designing this program, that we needed a program that was able to fit your lives and your schedules. We know that you may be a mom, you may be a dad, maybe you have 2 or 3 other jobs, whatever it is, that you can take this course, this program at your pace. And yes, I do get assignments sometimes that come through at midnight or 2 a.m. in the morning, and that's whatever your pace is. So our program is also very accessible. We offer low monthly payments. Most of spiritual leadership programs that are out there, if you're inquiring and you've done your research, can cost anywhere from 17,000 to 25,000, even more. And please remember, if you went through a university model, you could be spending upwards on 6 figures. Our program, our entire spiritual leadership program that can lead to ordination if you choose that, is 18 months and can be accomplished in roughly around $5,000. So I just want you to bear in mind what a wonderful gift that is. And you also, unlike other programs out there, many other programs will take you through step by step. Everybody's taking the same course. Everybody's doing the same thing. There are deadlines you have to meet. You have to, whatever it is. We have none of that. We have purposely removed many of what we call the boxes. Now, we do still have healthy boundaries. That's why the mentorship program is in place. That's why I'm here. I will know each of you individually, and I do check in and say, hey, where are you? How are you doing? So you do receive that personal support. Unlike other programs, we do not believe in failure. You might take some time out, you might take a little breathing space, but if you are committed and you enter this program, I can assure you that we do everything to support you, to mentor you, to guide you, to encourage you, to bring you along, to take you all the way through the 12 months. Maybe you decide that you're going to end at the 12 months and be credentialed as a spiritual leader and a difference maker. If you continue to move towards ordination, that's an additional 6-month program, and that is a beautiful opportunity for you to learn more about the shamanic way, to explore the archetypes. So I'm just going to leave it at that for now. I do go into a little bit more depth in another slide. So unless I miss something, Amy, just bring it to my attention. Is there anything else that you needed me to add in there?
I think that was a great overview and explanation of what makes the ILLI program very unique. And also just what's so important, I think, to all of us, very accessible, and that it's important work that we all believe in so very much for people. And that was such a main driving force of this, of how do we make this accessible and easy, adaptable for people, and meeting people where they are without the dogma and the rules and all the boxes that we all have so much of in our life. So it's just this really nice place to explore that. And we know, really what impresses me so much about this idea of, it's more of a personal journey in a lot of ways, as it's been mentioned a couple of times, that the shamanic journeys, that shamanic looking at life, that visionary looking at life, and freeing, really doing the deep work of freeing yourself, so you can be present with people, so you can be there for others, freeing yourself from your self-limiting thoughts or behaviors or anything that may be holding you back from really stepping up and out. That's what this work is all about. And it's just really great to hear your explanation of what you do for the students. And I think now I'm going to talk a little bit just about you all on the panel here to just give that background of just the breadth and the depth of the people that we are honored to have as a part of the faculty and founding of ILLI, and why it's why it's something you should really trust in looking at. We are a very diverse faculty and staff. There are leaders in education and business, spirituality, health, military, government, marketing, medicine, coaching fields, just a wide expanse of that background. And it's just a blessing for that foundation that you can work with different people at different lenses through life, and different courses with different instructors with those types of lenses too. So you've heard from our founder and president, Reverend Dr. Temple Hayes. And I just want to share just a little bit about her. Her background as a difference maker and a spiritual leader. She's an author, international motivational speaker. She's an ordained Center for Spiritual Living minister and an ordained Unity minister. She also is currently serving as the CEO of an amazing campus, First Unity Spiritual Campus in St. Petersburg, Florida. If you don't know much about her, her commitment to inspiring leaders is definitely a divine appointment for which she steps up and into each and every day. I can attest to this personally. She is a lifelong student. She's always growing and learning, which to me is just a significant sign of leadership, a prime characteristic that I look for in any teacher I may choose to follow. So I think that's a great thing. She shows it in her life, shows up in her life that way, and she serves as a strong guide for all of the students. Her support of students is just phenomenal in this program. And I find that to be very special, like the amount of very personal time that is there, that support for the students. You've also heard from Dr. Aileen Curtin. She's the Dean of Education. Her background is impressive with a commitment to education in all aspects. She supports each student so fully in this program. Again, we've talked about that, but just guiding and inspiring along the way. She brings a wealth of knowledge. She has a bachelor's degree in education. Let me take a deep breath for all this list here. Bachelor's degree in education, a diploma in religious instruction from Mary Immaculate College of Education, a master's degree in education from Texas Wesleyan University, and a PhD in curriculum instruction and educational leadership from the University of North Texas. And she's taught extensively, not only K through 7th grade, but also undergraduate and graduate as a professor at Texas Wesleyan University. So she is obviously a leader in many ways, and she's also certified yoga teacher, life coach, Reiki master, artist, and ordained minister. So we're very blessed with her dedication to the Institute and its students. We're also grateful for our Dean of Thought Leadership, Reverend Christy Hardwick. Her level of proven leadership is also impressive. She is an ordained religious science minister, a leadership development expert, master facilitator with more than 30 years of experience developing leaders, managing change. She teaches many of our foundational courses with a breadth and depth that allows students to fully absorb these dynamic ideas of new thought and leadership in a very approachable manner. She's very approachable and honoring of all of those very deep ideas that we are talking about. She is an American Leadership Forum Senior Fellow, faculty member, currently serves as an executive coach and spiritual guide to leaders from both the nonprofit and corporate sectors. And so she brings as well quite a bit of a lens of difference making and how new thought is that perspective of the spiritual depth. And so with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Reverend Christine to discuss a little bit more about the program. Thank you.
Thank you. Love being in this illustrious group of people and being part of this wonderful movement for change and difference makers. I just want to say a few more words about credentials, because I was a person who actually resisted a little bit having more credentials. I had, master's in organization development, and I had been an executive, all those kind of things. So why would I need to have a credential? And maybe you have a different kind of credential, or maybe you're not really sure about why a credential would matter. If I have a calling, that is the most important thing, which is absolutely true. Do you need a credential? No, you don't need a credential. There's something about why it's useful for you to be in community and be witnessed by community to receive a credential. So one of the things I want to say with all the leaders I work with, both as a coach and a facilitator and during my career in the high-tech industry, what I noticed is leaders who didn't have their own point of view had a very difficult time helping to inspire and lead other people. They would be faced with dilemmas and not actually have a way through because they hadn't really honed their own ideas very well. So the beauty of going into a program that's about empowering you and that's personalized for your curriculum is that it's going to help you to define your point of view. And the leader's point of view is what determines really the culture and the concept and the way that people are going to experience whatever it is that you're leading, the differences that you're wanting to make. So having a point of view as a leader, having a credential helps you to test your own ideas. The term education, I learned when I was on a school board for 8 years, is not about putting something into all the children. It was a K-12 district. It's about bringing out what's within, and the word actually means that, bringing out what is within. So ILLI is about bringing out what is within you and then credentialing it so that you can then share what it is that you have to share in a way that others can receive it. So that personalized curriculum, the personal mentorship. And I wanted to say a little bit about one of the ways that getting credentialed through ILLI is a little different. We have different styles of classes, different ways of learning. You'll sometimes be listening to music and understanding how it moves you and why that vibration matters. Another time you might be listening to a diversity expert in conversation with someone like me. And another time you might be listening to an expert on a subject who's teaching you through the book that they wrote. So you're going to have many different avenues and ways so that each learner and the way that they learn will be layered and getting different lessons, but the similar spiritual principles given to you in many different ways until something clicks for you. So we just are so excited to offer such a breadth so that you can try it out. It's like I always say that adults need to stay in kindergarten sometimes and have many different stations they can go to. So at ILLI, you have your different stations and the concepts click because each of our instructors has their own vision, their own vibrancy, and their own expertise. These are just some of the many ways that you can engage with the Institute. Whether your interests are in metaphysics or mysticism, health, wellness, we mentioned this, public speaking skills, some of the things that you see in other programs, ceremony and ritual, prayer, meditation. There are places that draw you more, again, back to that calling, things that you think, this really vibrates for me, and it can change over time. So when you have that year-long engagement with us, you can begin your courses and choose them and shape out your program. And then as you're moving through it, you might have an awakening or an understanding of something and move in a direction towards something else. But we have depth in all of these areas. And all of them can, again, give you a point of view as a leader who wants to make changes through the efforts of community and yourself. So thank you for considering us, because I think it's something that could enrich your life and the life of others.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much. And I think next we're really walking into more just this idea of embodiment and what it feels like. And so Reverend Dr. Temple Hayes, again, will speak to us about this vision and painting this vision for each of us here and just really getting us, it's nice to just take that time and relax into that energy and feel what is that next best step for that's calling us. So thank you.
Well, I think the experience of just as you're watching later online or watching with your friends, I think just the value of what you're experiencing in this webinar is a true example of what our core intention is. Amy Bowen, the amazing Ryan, our Reverend Christy, and Dr. Aileen, or myself, we all come from a place of being equally connected to spirit at any given time. And I've always said that the best leader in the world is always replacing himself or herself. And that, I mean, I as I studied ministry early on in my life, I would see so many communities that had, one leader, one system that only that person could do anything and everybody else was just followers and wannabes. And that's not a sustainable system. You ought to be able to walk away from anything that you've created, whether it's a family system, a spiritual community system, a legacy system, and be able to walk away from it and know that it will be forever lasting. Not that, oh, it can't make it, without you. That comes from a level of insecurity, of not really integrating what is possible. So when I think about the idea in the 80s, yes, I go back that far and then some. If you don't remember what the 80s were like, we actually had cassette tapes back then. If you don't know what that's like, well, I don't even know what to tell you. But the point is, in the 80s, there was the statement that when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. I love that statement. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. When something is pulling me towards something greater within myself, there will be a teaching such as ILLI that will offer me the opportunity to grow out of what I already understand, because what we already understand continues to create what we already have. And so in order to emerge and evolve into more, then we have aha moments. We hear different instruction. We learn from different ways. I mean, you may have heard about prayer all your life, but put yourself as a student waiting for the teacher to appear in front of a class, hearing somebody else talk about their experience of prayer. Ah, you've given me a new insight. Wow. Oh, I am learning. The other part of that, though, that I'd like you to visit within your heart, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear, means the teacher within you. And so it's likened to what Dr. Aileen said. It's likened to what Ryan was saying. It's likened to what Reverend Christie is saying, is that, and Amy, is that there comes a time that you are called to teach, even sometimes what you're learning at the same time, because it's one thing to absorb, it's another thing to share. It's another thing to engage through knowledge, because when, sometimes people will go at a workshop or a program or a retreat that I'm giving, oh, I'm so looking forward to what you have to say. And I go, well, so am I. So am I, because there's going to be some kind of inner growing going on that the teacher and the student are having this relationship within me. And I love to sit with and reflect and chew upon that which I've spoken about, or that which I've allowed to flow through me. My part of my story, in addition to all the other stories that you would hear about me, is that I think that the most important thing to me is likened to what Amy said. I am a permanent lifelong learner. And I'm very clear that when I am no longer interested in learning, I don't want to claim any kind of role of being a leader. That being said, I was a minister having a calling at 5 years old. And people would say, well, you're so lucky that you had that. And what I would say is, well, had my parents, put me in a mystery school, maybe. But being a Southern Baptist raised community, very small town, having a calling to be a spiritual leader was not something that people really identified with. And so it was that search, it was that student looking for that teacher on that, constant journey. But even in studying ministry, just so you know, I was terrified to speak and talk. The first year of ministry, I was so terrified to speak and talk. I spent 5 years in training and reading lots of books, very impressive, reading about different powers, reading about, founders of great movements. And like I said, I went to anything, signed up for any class I could. And yet the development of the skills that I needed, I didn't have. So I was terrified to be a speaker. I was so nervous that I would, misstate things. I would get so preoccupied with what I was saying. And I would teach classes and pray that no one would show up. Well, that's a little messed up, but I go, wow, I'm so glad nobody showed up. I mean, that's not exactly what it's supposed to be. But I came to understand that there's a big difference between being certified and being dignified. And the reason that ministry, even though I had all these years of training, even though I had waited since I was 5 years old to hear someone say at 33, you now have this glorified permission. We now authorize you to go out and do this. I realized that I was certified, but certified means that you do it the way you were taught. Certified means that you copy the people that taught you. You do it their way. Dignified is the place that you want to be able to live from. And that is my deepest passion and my deepest joy about what ILLI offers is from the first moment you make that call, pick up the phone and call today, from the first moment that you apply, from the first moment you send in your application, you are greeted as an immense person that deserves to be recognized and is treated in the most dignified way. Because when you step into spirituality as a dignified individual, now you're talking. Now you're talking because you are leading according to your own understanding of what you're needing to lead. And you are resonating in this divine listening of what it is that people want, whether you are the president of a chamber or you are the administrator of a healthcare facility. Again, spiritual leadership, the world is longing for it deeply in all walks of life and in all avenues and all places. And one of the reasons that early on, Dr. Aileen and I started meeting and talking is that people started coming to me and saying, how do you do it? How do you, write for magazines, write a book, blog, do posters, run an organization or stay present at one and teach and do that and that. And you seem to manage it all. And to me, it was like, I went, I don't think I'm doing anything any different than anybody else. I'm just showing up and being grounded in that energy field. But then I realized that the distinction between ministerial or spiritual leadership training that's out there in the world is just giving that certification and is not really deepening the training of that inner life and that core value of being grounded, that you are a difference maker and you are a messenger of what you're claiming to be teaching. And that's a strong, strong, strong distinction that anything can be happening at any given time and you can remain grounded and steadfast. And when I look at the systems that we have out there in discernment, we are just cookie cutter training people. And therefore, we're getting the same kind of cookie cutter experiences as what leaders look like, instead of people that are breaking through the glass ceiling. And so, in that reality, we teach you how to realize that anytime you think you're the only one doing it, you're already off the mark. You have something so great that is within you that's wanting to be realized, your excellence and your genius. And we teach you how to move away from shadow reality of self-righteousness, of martyrdom, of, tired, of busy making, and all those things so that you can really lead your life and lead other people around you by modeling. And people today, they're more interested in what you're walking versus what you're talking. And if those are going in some kind of solid, insightful way. And so part of our course is to teach you when you are into your healthy well-being of a teacher, of a healer, of a visionary, of a warrior, and when you're in your shadow. And when you're in that space, you're this attraction magnet to what you have to say, to what you have to share. And it's not about being full of yourself. Everyone needs some level of ego, but we need that self-esteem, we need that self-assertiveness. But again, it's not power over someone else. It's about being a channel. It's about, rather than being full of yourself, you are full of spirit. And the willingness to surround yourself with people that are so dynamic and so phenomenal that you can allow the space of the teacher and student to be balanced within your own heart. So that's what it's all about. And I feel blessed. I feel grateful to be in the presence of all of you.
Thank you so much, Temple. And part of the big thing that we wanted to all come together is to just spend a few minutes, if you want to lead us into maybe just a short meditation of that feeling. To we're about done here. We're going to share the link so people can sign up for their next step and make that next call and learn more, get that consultation. And we're really grateful for everything that you just shared there. It's very meaningful part of ILLI, and I think we would all like to have that a little bit of the embodiment of being a difference maker. Stepping into that, just taking them a few minutes to feel that, and before we leave this evening.
Absolutely. So we're going to envelop ourselves in that consciousness of being a difference maker. And we're going to allow that energy to flow through every cell and fiber of your being, is first and foremost to claim and to state, I am a difference maker. I am a difference maker. And in that energetic field, instead of delaying life, delaying spaces of saying, I am still looking for my purpose, change that reality into a place that says, my purpose is seeking me. My purpose is seeking me. And therefore, to live and move and have one's being in the spiritual realm of life is simply responding to what is in front of you. And so we are calling for this inner calling within you. And just visualize with me that we are all holding hands around the globe of the great Mother Earth, in which we come from and which we will return. And we just envelop our arms around her. And we call forth this space of this energy field of knowing that each and every one of us, in our rippling effect, are playing a part in opening the heart of the world. And through this expression, through this beingness of who we are, through this mindset of seeing peace and kindness and compassion, there is already a change that has already occurred. It is happening in this very moment in which we are together. It is unfolding even as we are in the space of the breath. And in this sacred space, as a difference maker, there is an inner growing within your nature that allows the student and the teacher to walk hand in hand from a place that is thirsty, yet at the same time knowing you are full. At a place that knows that you are willing, but at the same time knowing you are complete. This is the mission as we move from any sense of a whole to a place of being wholly. It is the full embodiment and embracing of one's greatest sense of being. And so the future you now can see the place, can see that energy, can see the essence, that the true life experience, as you look into your future, is the permission to truly be. You are that which you are, as a difference maker, as a leader, and you are filled with the essence of being so. And so it is. And we breathe that in, and we hold it for you, and we know it. And so it shall be. Amen.
Absolutely. Electric. We're so excited for everyone that got to join us this evening and learning more about our program and our wonderful leadership team here. And we're next steps, if you feel called even more, which this is your calling here, is ILLI, to even just learn a little bit more about yourself. We invite you to set up the call. I'm going to put the link here soon. I also will send that out to all of the registrants and an email, so you can set that up, do that right away. And you can discuss your goals with one of our mentors, prepare the materials needed to apply for the program. And once you are accepted, you can begin your first courses right away. So now you've been called, and now it's time to act. And we so appreciate all of your time spending here, and each of you for sharing your stories and your expertise with us. And if anyone else wants to say anything else, I'm going to jump over here and put this link in here, and excited for all of you to take that next step, and let us know if there's any other questions that you have. Feel free to type those on the Facebook now, and we'll answer those. Or if anyone else wants to share anything as a parting thought, now's the time. All right. Well, once again, we thank you all for being here, and you have a blessed day. The world is calling for leaders, and we are answering. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Until next time.